Yo, check out my website, www.theclowntimes.net. That's clown spelled with K as you see here. As you see, here are my rants here. I'll be more and more regular in posting rants in the future. You see what I have going on here. Also, you can also get your merch here at www.cafepress.com. Search for the Clown Time Sports. You see here I have sweatshirts, hoodies, baby gear, mugs, t-shirts. So just come on over and grab yourself some merch.
Welcome to tonight's Monday edition of the Clown Hour Podcast. I'm Scott Burks. Please continue to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel, even or into this video as well. But even if you do not agree with what either I or my guest host have to say, comment anyway. Because in any event, you'll be glad you did, and I'll be glad you did, and my co-host will be glad you did. And speaking of which, I'll see that big ass W. We'll get to that in a moment. But he's the creator of the Yard/HBCU Sports for Basketball All Things HBCU Sports, as well as Sleazy Ritter every Tuesday night on Facebook Live and YouTube. And last but not least, his great work. Check out his great work a lot on. I'm sorry. It's been a while. It's been a while. You might as well fill me in because I'm drawing a blank, bro.
With Hero Sports?
Hero Sports. Damn it, that's right. HeroSports.com. The rest of all things FCS athletics as they pertain to HBCUs. I don't know why I flubbed that up, but hey, it happens. My man Dwayne Nash is back in the house, and he's pretty happy right now for reasons we're going to very shortly. So, how you doing, sir?
It's party time. It's party time. Have a party.
There you go.
Yeah.
I'm a dog horn.
Yeah.
I'm about to pass
my
out,
goodness.
Scott. I'm about to pass out. Oh, that bag was gone.
Oh,
my God.
man.
Oh my
Man.
God. I never thought it would happen, Scott. I never thought it would happen.
You know what? I said on a YouTube short and on TikTok as well about how many Washington football fans are either brain dancing, sacrificing goats, or just celebrating as if it was on sale for $19.99, and probably the combination of any of the three. I mean, I never thought I'd see the day where Dan Snyder, aka Danny Boy, team would be sold. Now we'll get to the all Danny Boy and all that in a minute, but I want to focus on the good first. Focus on the powers of good that your new guy, Josh Harris, whose investment group, ownership group includes one Magic Johnson, how they're changing the fortune, look at the change of fortune, and how they lifted up and held, are still holding, lifted up in prayer and adulation and joy of the Washington football fan base. It is miraculous, to say the least.
Man, oh man. So, you know, my whole I had a joke over the past few years where I kept saying, don't bust that nut just yet. I don't believe it's going to happen until it happens.
Oh, God.
Oh, my God, it's time. If you ain't done it by now, you should have. Because it is, oh, my God. Scott, oh, my God. Oh, my God. Oh, my, it's, I don't believe it. And like you said, the fact that Magic Johnson is, even though he's not the majority owner, he is literally the face of the organization now.
Sure, of course. He's the
and
most famous
to have two guys in ownership right now, like Harris and like Johnson, that are connected to winning organizations already, to come here to DC and look to turn things around here in the district. Oh my God.
Right. And you know what? I was gonna say, you said that don't bust that nut just yet. I wonder how long the cascade of jizz is going on right now.
I don't. Oh my God, I don't. Oh my God, there's some people who believe what has happened on Thursday has even turned around the fortunes of the Nationals, who swept the team for once, for the first
All
time in a
right.
very long time. So it's oh my God, it just feels so good. It does. It
It
does.
feels good. Just like old Tony song. It feels good.
I'm to quote Chuck Brown, man, I'm busting loose right now, man.
There you go.
Got what you got, you get what you need, y'all.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
So to your point about Josh Harris being part of winning organization in the past, he was involved with the Philadelphia 76ers for a while, as well as the New Jersey Devils, the
Yeah.
National Hockey League.
Hmm.
Founded Harris Blitzer Sports and Entertainment, HBSE, in 2017. Obviously manages the 76ers and Devils, among other brands of properties. He also has been a general partner of the Premier League squad, Crystal Palace. So to your point, he's used to success. He's used
Exactly.
to not fucking around, if you will. He's used to getting the job done as any way possible. So I'm just happy for your beloved, your fellow Washington football team fans. I'm eager to see where the future is headed for your organization, and part of that will be rumored to be a name change. So how do you feel about the possibility of the Commanders? Actually, I should say this just in case, of the Washington franchise rid itself of the last bit of stench that Danny Moore has left in the Commanders'
Well, sometimes they say if you're around something that stinks long enough, you can't smell it anymore.
nickname. Right.
The name Commanders is one of those things to me that doesn't smell.
Hmm.
I was not opposed to it. As you can see, I actually bought gear. Well, not a lot. I just bought two caps for the team because
Okay.
I didn't buy any football team gear because I was waiting for the new name.
Right.
When the new name was announced, you know, with the whole leaking of the name and all of that, I still didn't have an issue with it. I
Right.
still don't. I'm one of the few fans that doesn't have an issue with the name. But if it's something that the ownership wants to do, I mean, being a fan, I'll be with it. The one thing though that I am a little concerned about though is the discussion on whether or not the colors are going to be changed or not, because
Right.
they say an entire rebrand. With that, the discussion or the potential to even change the colors of the team is up for discussion as well. Now there are a lot of people who think that the team could probably change their colors to red, white, and blue to have a little synergy with the both the capital, not even both, but the Capitals, the Nationals, and the Wizards.
Right.
Could be nice because I mean it's cool to see that in like it's in Pittsburgh, especially when everyone has that type
Black
of
and
synergy
gold.
in terms of team
Yep.
colors, and you
Right.
can easily identify that. But for those who didn't want to give up the first name because of the history that's tied to it, I don't want to give up the colors because of the history that's tied to it. The colors
And
got my daddy name on it, got my daddy blood on it.
and I
I
get
don't.
that. I totally get that, dude, because um it's I think every major sports franchise there is in the world
Mhm.
has that certain characteristic about it that's unmistakable, right? That's recognizable. Like you alluded to Pittsburgh, the Steelers, black and yellow. Um, hated those damn Dallas Cowboys, the metallic
Yeah.
blue, right? And the Raiders, silver and black. It's everything, even there in Las Vegas now, right? From
Yeah.
Oakland to LA, back to Oakland to Las Vegas. They kept that name and well, not just name, but the colors.
Uh
You
huh.
know when you're watching a Raider game. We watch the Green Bay Packers. See that big ass G and the green and yellow. You know, we see the coach with that horseshoe and the blue and white. Every franchise, almost every iconic franchise, has that thing that sets it apart. Case in point, your beloved Washington team, whether they're named the previous name, the Redskins or the Commanders or the Washington football team in the interim. They kept the burgundy and the gold. And I don't know. I get the sentiment of them wanting to change the colors to, or at least talking about discussing red, white, and blue, which is okay, right? Because you're the nation's capital. You know, to your point, the Wizards finally went off that crazy ass blue and gold bullshit. The Capitals, obviously,
did the same thing, got off that whole crazy
there you go. I mean,
pewter and black, and they had the same color scheme that the Wizards had at one point.
And that's a Ted Leonsis own both squads. So there you go. He figured, why not do it for both? Good for him. And last but not least, the Washington Nationals. Everyone was red, white, and blue. I don't know if you guys are gonna mess around and paint the bridges red, white, and blue like they do in Pittsburgh with the black and gold, but that's another story for another time. But the point is, I get the sentiment, but I just don't know if I'm ready to let go of the burgundy and gold because, to your point, you say your daddy's blood is on it. My dad, God rest his soul, was a huge Washington football fan. I don't know if you can go away from that just yet.
No, and I wouldn't want them to, especially with the discussion of the team moving back to the RFK site.
Which is awesome, by the way.
If that happens,
awesome. Yeah.
That if it happens, I don't want to see another color scheme in there other than burgundy and gold. Sure. I don't. I really don't. Now there is a plan, and I'm about to name drop a little bit because you know he is a high school homie of mine that would be congressman, not congressman, I'm sorry, city councilman. I'm thinking about work, but yeah, city councilman Kenyon McDuffie here in DC already has a plan of what to do on that DC site, where on that RFK site, where he wants to not only put the stadium, but of course have housing and retail there as well. Right. I'm intrigued on how that's all going to work. Because that space isn't the largest of spaces, but they also are the discussion was when they build a new stadium, they're most definitely are going to look to go with less seating, somewhere between 60 to 70,000. Because of course they want it to be more intimate.
Right.
And they also want it to be a situation where it's where you can get more of your home team fans in there too. With that said, my guess is that it could potentially end up looking like what it currently looks like in outside of Atlanta where the Braves play, and also what it looks like in DC where the Nats play, where they do have the stadium, retail, and housing all within
multi-purpose
blocks of each other. Yeah, and it works.
Right. I totally get that. So, yeah, just as long as you guys, speaking of the Braves, they'll move way to hell in yuppie land and call, because like I think the Keisha Bottoms, the mayor of Atlanta, I think that's her name. She called it like the Gwinnett County Braves. Don't call it the Atlanta Braves. Call that shit the Gwinnett County Braves.
Yeah, because they are out there. Yes,
they're way out there, and that puts that not trying to add anything into it, but that just fits their fan base.
Yes, it does.
And you know what I'm getting at. So
most definitely. But it's unfortunate because those that still live in the city and still love the Braves, but don't necessarily have transportation to get out there. It's a battle for them to get out there.
I agree. Totally agree. So we'll see, man. But all right, before we move on, well, actually, if they do change the name, what in your mind should name? Because I've heard Sentinels, which I like Sentinels. I've heard the Red Tails again. I thought about your analogy. I'm gonna beat that red tail.
You know what I'm saying? All of the tail and hog and the
Red
sound
Hawks. I
effects
heard
they
Red Hawks,
lose.
right? To
You
keep the
know,
same burgundy, the red scheme going. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I'm still one. I'm like you. I really do like Sentinels. I wouldn't be opposed to that, but at this point, I'm just waiting on the process to be done again. You know,
Right.
if they're going to do it, let's get it done. I just want to rip the band-aid off and let's do it and let it be over with. Because I'm still going to be a fan of the team regardless.
Sure.
Um,
Sure.
I just want to see exactly what it is so I can get myself prepped for it, so I can finally get new gear and have what I'm going to have as you know, paraphernalia for the team. But yeah, I was already going to have to wait to get commander stuff. Now I'm gonna have to go ahead and hold off until it's official on whether or not they're going to be continue to be the commanders or not. But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't mind whatever it
Well,
is whatever it's going to be.
yeah, I was gonna say, well, whatever y'all decide to call it or keep the same name, I just hope that y'all, not that you could do anything about it, but I hope that your squad chooses to go back into the district, back to the RFK site.
Yeah,
That would be awesome. That would be awesome. Talk about nostalgia.
yeah, yeah, and I believe I told you this, Scott, when they used to have the Nations Football Classic there in
Mm-hmm.
RFK before it really became dilapidated, when that game was between Howard and take your HBCU of choice. It was either Morehouse or Hampton, and that's the series, how the series ended. Even though it was in bad shape, just being in that stadium, having the chills of walking through the locker rooms of where such greats as Riggins and Manley and Mann, Butts and Theismann and all those other players. Because I can sit here and go on and on forever about all the guys who came through RFK and suited up for the team. It 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 it, the emotion that I felt walking through the stadium was still there even in 2015, 2016. I can I don't know how I feel because I never got a chance to go to a Redskins game in RFK as a child.
Yeah,
I've been in the stadium for other things, but
I have too, but not for the but not for a Washington football game.
yeah,
Yeah,
so to actually have an opportunity to walk through the locker room, that was the closest thing that I got to being in there with the Skins. But for them to return back to that site and play in that site would mean so much, not only to the area, but to the league as a whole. And I
yeah.
know that the other owners in the league are doing whatever they can to make sure that becomes a reality.
You know what? And I remember that old decrepit stadium though, but man, those muddy ass football games that got wet and it snowed, and that was just iconic. You know, you see
Yeah.
them, they would shake the bleachers would shake on the field. That old broken ass down ass stadium, them in Three Rivers. You know what I'm saying? But it's just iconic.
Yeah.
And you know, iconic being, and this is just getting slightly off topic here, but like for example, the Titans are going to bring back those iconic Houston Oilers uniforms for 2 games this year.
Yeah. I
That's
saw that.
dope. That
Yeah.
is hella dope. They should do the right thing though, still, and give those back to the Houston Texans. Get the Houston Oilers back.
They really
But
should.
but I like the fact that they're bringing those back because that's the lovely Blue days. I grew up not liking the Oilers, to be honest with you, all that much. But you know, I couldn't stand Jerry Glanville, but that's another story for another time. But that's nostalgia that the NFL is bracing, allowing teams to get third jerseys and third helmets
Yeah.
finally, and stop being a no fun league. And I think now with Washington possibly headed back into the district on their RFK site with a new stadium, obviously, that would be awesome.
It would.
That would be hella awesome. And one more thing though, I know we spoke glory about the good, the possible good of Josh Harris and Magic Johnson owning the team and bringing new hope and everything else, and they're all saying the right things. This is Danny Boy Snyder, in fact, still out there. that little bitty fucker out there. That's he lost his team, but he sold it for $6 billion for B. And if you take away the 1% that he'll be losing with the $60 million fine, you also take away the fact that he purchased the team for $800 million. He still made over $5 billion.
Yeah.
He still won.
He still won.
Even in a disgraceful exit, that little fucker still won.
He still won.
He still fucking won. It's like this is with the fans won, the NFL won on the same side, and then Danny Boy Snyder ends up winning. This is the rare win-win that doesn't feel good.
No, but you know what? The fans don't even mind. Okay, you won.
Just want him out. Just want out.
You won, but you were gone. We don't care. We don't care because there are other things that he's definitely going to end up facing that he's going to deal with lawsuits that are pending. Yeah. And we'll see exactly how that actually hits him now that he is no longer under the shield.
And you know what else? And now I was in the segment with this. And the hell, Danny Boy Snyder will start with this. What's his name? Oh God. The guy who played for Penn State, who's on Fox Sports now, does a good job. What's his name? LeVar Arrington.
LeVar Arrington, yeah.
Like I said, does a great job in the broadcasting side. He's really good at what he does.
I miss him here in DC. He used to do DC radio here, but I understand.
Yeah, and so he has two shows. He has a show, both on Fox Sports. He has a show with TJ Houshmandzadeh and Plexico Burrs, who also they do a great job together, called Up on Game, where he discussed his time with Danny Boy Snyder, how that affected him, as well as the show he has, the Three Cups of the Joe, with Brady Quinn and Jonah, I forgot his last name, but Jonah Knox, I think his last name is. On both shows, he talked about Dan Snyder and how his career was affected by him. Right? He was Danny Boy's first draft pick.
Yeah, he was.
And how he once had a close relationship with him that went south when he got hurt.
Yeah.
And to hear him talk about it, especially Up on Game with his fellow former NFLers. Not that he wants one, not that he asked for one. I felt like giving him a hug. Because he unpacked a lot off his chest that he's been saying for years. And people finally seen Danny Boy for what he is, for what it was. And the fact that throughout years that LeVar had to face all that backlash from the NFL because of Danny Boy. Yeah. It's like he finally exhaled. You can almost hear him exhale through him talking about it. It was almost therapeutic for him to discuss on both shows. And, last but not least with that, speaking of Brady Quinn, he did a segment where I guess they have his buddy LeVar's back that said that really Danny Boy is really one of probably the worst owner in sports history. Aside from possibly that motherfucker who still runs my Knicks. And I'm not going to call his name.
James Nolan?
Yeah, I'm not going to call his name.
It's funny you say that, right?
Yeah.
Whenever you guys get a chance, here's a slight plug. Sleazy Sports, we actually did a podcast a month or two back on the worst sports owners of all time, where we ended up ranking them, and we actually had Daniel Snyder in the top 10. I believe he was in the top 5, but I don't believe we had him as number 1 because there's some guys, as bad as Daniel Snyder was, there was some bad ones that was worse than him.
I could think of one.
Who was that?
I can think of this. I'm going way back, with the 70s, 60s. There's a guy named Finley that used to own the Oakland A's, and before that, the Kansas City A's. It was notoriously cheap. notoriously cheap. And it was so cheap, how cheap you may ask, that team, that fabulous team he had in the 70s with Reggie Jackson, Vada Blue, Raleigh Fingers, and a few other, I think Raleigh Fingers played for him, and a bunch of other guys, they won those World Series in spite of his cheap ass. In spite of it.
Yeah.
And he ended up selling them off. He got rid of he didn't want Reggie Jackson. Thank you. This Yankees fan saying thank you forever. Mr. October happened when he was in Pinstripes. And I think he won the Hall of Fame. I think he went in as a Yankee, but then again, I think he may have forgiven the A's organization by that point. I don't know. But he was pretty bad. Kaminsky was very bad too.
Yes.
The original owner of the White Sox, that led to the Black Sox scandal because he was notoriously cheap as well. That guy, and one could say here, I live in Cincinnati, Mike Brown.
Mike Brown's another one that was on the list.
Yeah, so he's notorious. He for years had them practicing outdoors, so he wouldn't build a facility. He just now built a damn facility. And I think that was because his daughter said, Dad, stop being fucking cheap and build a facility, because she's about to I think she's doing the day-to-day stuff. Katie Brown Blackburn. So Katie Blackburn, that's what she goes by. So she created a whole Ring of Honor and everything else. But yeah. So I see your point. I don't disagree with y'all not having a number one. I disagree. I totally get that. I agree with y'all. There's some plenty derelicts out there who would be challenging for that throne, that infamous throne, if you will. So I totally get out that. But I think you guys, with Danny Boy out of the way,
yes,
I think you guys are looking. Things can't help but go up. And to the fact that y'all were, albeit it was a meager division title a few years ago, y'all doing okay and have been doing okay in spite of Danny. So I think you guys will be fine. I think much to the chagrin of Philly fans and Dallas fans that y'all be fine. But, yeah, I'm just glad that Danny Boy's out of there. And I'm looking forward to how much trouble he's going to get his ass in, because I don't think this is stopping him.
It's not. The fun part, though, is going to be, of course, attempting to get him to come back to the States so that he can face his punishment. And that's where the interesting thing comes in is how is that going to play itself out? Because I think, I don't know if you know the nickname I referred to Daniel Snyder by over the past few months. I refer to him as Jordan Belfort from Wolf of Wall Street.
Oh, wow.
The reason why I said that, how much did you enjoy the movie Wolf of Wall Street?
I love it.
Okay, so you know, in the part in the movie.
Okay, sorry.
But you know the part in the movie where he attempts to evade the feds by going to Europe and hiding out on his yacht.
That's correct, yes.
Danny did the same thing when it was time for his Senate meeting. He actually went
Are you serious?
Europe and hung out on his yacht, and it was like, yeah, I can't make it. They were like, dude, you can't Skype in? Nah, I can't make it. And he literally hung out on his yacht to avoid the government.
Oh man, that's just too much.
That was hilarious.
Oh, that's too much. Well, before we get to the second half of this podcast, let me give a quick shout out to BetUs.com, our sponsors. Maybe people could bet on the Washington football team, well, the Commanders now that their boys out there. But anyway, listen to sports bettors, your favorite sports book, BetUs.com is brought for their 30th year of NFL action. So with the industry's biggest sign bonus up to 200%, BetUS offers their members the opportunity to cash in on all your favorite sports, including NFL, UFC, and MLB. So if you're looking for live in-game betting, incredible odds with daily odds, boosters, props, and parlays, you got it. And how about fast payouts and exceptional one-on customer service? They have them too. So log into BETUS.com or call 800-792-3887. That's 800-79-BET-US. You use the promo code TKT for the Klown Times as well. BetUs.com, where the game begins. All right, let's close this podcast on shifting from the NFL and Daniel Boy being the hell up on out of here to the college football world, centering in the HBCU world, centering on FAMU, Florida A&M. So I don't know if people heard about this, but FAMU apparently put a ban on football activities amid investigation of a rap video made by one rapper, Real Boston Richie. I don't know how he came up with that name, but wherever the hell. But anyway, the point is that he was posted on social media last week showing him performing in the FAMU locker room with some of the players in the team gear. So recently, they lifted the ban on football activities amid an investigation. I don't know what's been going on with that, but anyway, I know you're closer to this. That's what you do. That's your bread and butter. So educate us on what the hell was going on with FAMU in relation to this Real Boston Richie Cap doing his thing.
Well, for those who are unfamiliar, I was one of those people. Up until about say about a couple of weeks ago, right? Real Boston Richie is a Tallahassee-based rapper.
Okay.
Who is beloved in the city of Tallahassee and in northern Florida, right?
Got it.
Biggest thing down there now. As you could probably guess, what happened was, he probably approached some of the players on the team and said, "Hey, I got this new single out called what's that? Send the Blitz."
Okay.
And I want to go ahead and do the video on your facilities. And the players allowed it to happen. Problem is, of course, head coach Willie Simmons was away from campus on vacation. So, the video is recorded and it's released. And of course, he, along with some of the players, are wearing, helmet, gear, paraphernalia, and are performing in the locker room and inside of Bragg Stadium.
Okay.
And of course, you hear some of the lyrics. The lyrics are a little racy. One of them, of course, where he refers to, women giving him, performing sexual acts on him, and along with some discussion of some other dubious things, right?
In other words, things that rappers do for $500.
Yes, right. So some would say that the lyrics aren't necessarily that bad. And in retrospect, they aren't. The problem, though, is this just happens to be stuff that Florida A&M University does not want to be associated with. So, and I would imagine no university wants to have their name, likeness, or image associated with the lyrics that are portrayed in the song.
Got it.
And you can't fault them for that.
Right. I totally agree with that. Totally.
Especially with the comments about women, especially with an athletics program that has a female AD. The school also has a women provost, a woman in the position of general counsel, a woman at the position of chief of staff. The board of presidents, the board of trustees president is a woman. 5 of the deans at the institution are women, and the VPs of finance, compliance, and HR are all women there for the A&M. So to have such denigrating lyrics about women said while wearing university gear for Florida A&M, of course, does not represent that institution well. Now, with all of that said, of course, there are young men who should have known better, but this is a mistake that they made because they were excited by celebrity. And we're not going to sit here and act like people of any age are not excited by celebrity.
Right.
Don't believe me? Look at the SWAC in Jackson State over the past few years up until December of last year. And we talk about celebrity there and how much that affected the amount of attention that they received in Jackson, Mississippi, but I digress. So I understand why they fell victim to it. This should be a teachable and a learning moment for them. They've already dealt with their suspension and their punishment. The suspension has been lifted. This should be the end of it. All of this lengthy conversation and think tanks about why this happened, the thought process of everyone else, all of that other stuff, albeit true. And yes, there are tons of things that can be true at once. There's no such, well, in this instance, there is not an exclusive fact. Because, of course, there was even discussions about systemic racism that came up about the perception of Florida A&M by non-African Americans in this situation and how the university is going to be perceived. Again, there are a lot of things that can be true, and that can be true as well. But as much as I don't want to focus on that, but we can, but I just don't. I'm going to focus on the fact that the university didn't want that attached to their imagery, and I understand it. And I'm glad that they came out and they spoke out about it. And I'm just glad that it's over with and these young men learned the lesson.
So that's pretty much it, then. So let me ask you this.
Uh-huh.
How does a guy from Florida have Boston in his name? Where the hell did that come from?
I don't know. Real Boston Richie, most definitely is outside of my age range as it pertains to hip hop. I'm still getting into YG and Dom Kennedy and Kendrick Lamar and some of these other cats. But yeah, that dude's a little bit too young for me. Same thing probably for an Ice Spice or a Saweetie or I know who these people are. I know them by name, but yeah, they way too young for me. And why dude out of Tallahassee got a name Boston? I don't know. It's not, I couldn't tell you. That'll be for someone under the age of 25 to tell me that.
Something like that. All right, man. Tell the people where they can find you on social media, man.
As always, you can find me on now Threads, even though I haven't necessarily put up too many threads, but you can now find me on Threads, what is now called X.
Okay.
Thank you, Elon Musk, for the name change. My God, man.
That's crazy.
Oh, God, changing Twitter to X. What kind of foolishness is this? It's not DMX. Get out of here. And, of course, Facebook at The Yard HBCU. And you're going to find me soon within the next couple of days with new articles on herosports.com as I review the MEAC and SWAC football media days and also preview the upcoming seasons for those two conferences as well. And
you can find me on TikTok now at Scott Burks. That's one word. Scott Burks, all lowercase. And I'm having fun on there. Hopefully you have fun on there too. So remember, boys and girls, and ladies and gentlemen, please either like, comment, share, and subscribe. Even if you do not agree with either one of us said tonight, just respond anyway, because in the end, because you did, I be glad you did. My co-host will be, my guest host will be glad you did. And please check out this great work, herosports.com. I remembered it now. Sleazy Sports, Sleazy Radio every Tuesday night on Facebook Live and YouTube. And last but not least, the Yard / HCU Sports Raps all about all things HCU Sports. I'll be okay. Trying to get it out. But anyway, I'm tired, so thank you for tuning in tonight. Take care. Till next time. Peace.